Hello and welcome. You're tuned into the best in paranormal podcasting. This is Darkness Radio. Woo! I like that. See, Nikki, that's how you get 5 people to sound like 50
that's
people.
Right.
Yeah, just load them up with whiskey bar stuff and wine, and man, they do get boisterous.
Well done, well done.
This is Darkness Radio live aboard Jericho Cruise. This is the, what is this, triple whammy cruise.
Triple whammy.
This is our 3rd time aboard the Jericho Cruise. We're excited to be here. We've got a great audience lined up. Just remind everybody, I'll be doing ghost stories on Sunday night, I think at 11:15 in the great outdoors. For those of you listening,
yes.
Yeah, thank you. For those of you listening at home, you're screwed. Although I am loud, you may not hear me from the Bahamas, but I will be telling ghost stories, and that's why you should sign up for the Jericho Cruise. And I think they just announced there's going to be another Jericho Cruise that's going to be taking place in March 2022. Unless, of course, the earth opens up and begins swallowing us. We don't know. At this point, fucking anything's possible in this planet, right? So we're pretty excited. The Jericho 4 cruise will be taking place in March. So just keep checking websites, jerichocruise.com for updates on that. And if you guys have not had a chance to come on out to the Rock and Wrestling Ragers, you guys have been missing it. This is for all the people at home, not all you sitting here going, I'm not missing it. I'm here, Dave. I'm here. But we're having conversations with multiple voices in my head, folks, so bear with me. Today, joining me live on the show, sitting on the main stage with me, is Nikki Folsom.
Thanks, guys. Thank you.
Nikki's here because she was the drunkest girl at the end of the night at the bar, and I convinced her to join me. Nikki is an author from Texas. She's written a book called The Haunted Harlequin, talking about the Haunted Harlequin Theater. She is also working currently on a book on fairies and shadow people.
Not the same book.
Slow down, everybody. Not so excited, all right? How many people, I'm just curious, yeah. I'm just curious, show of hands, how many people here, and this is great for the listening audience, how many people here, maybe applause, believe in ghosts? How many people believe in aliens? How many people believe in Bigfoot? How many people are drunk and are just going to keep clapping no matter what I ask? Yeah. I knew that was coming. All right, very cool. Now here's the big one. How many people believe in fairies?
Thank you. Thank you.
4 people and Nikki, so we're good.
Just wait.
No, it's interesting, right? There's that delineation line. Ghosts, UFOs, Bigfoot, sure. Fairies? Come on. Come on, Nikki. Fairies.
Listen, they're not Disney fairies. I'm talking like real.
Why are they
fairies.
not Disney fairies? Explain to me,
Because
please.
fairies aren't Tinkerbell. They can be Tinkerbell, but they're not Tinkerbell.
Well, what do you mean they're not Tinkerbell? What's the difference between Tinkerbell and the fairies of lore?
Tinkerbell, like Disney tends to turn them into these little flutty, we're wonderful little people. No, they're assholes. They're really not great. Okay, sorry. Wait, I shouldn't say that out loud.
So fairies are assholes. Unlike
No,
Tinkerbell,
okay.
who tried to kill Peter Pan,
Well,
tried to kill Wendy,
but she's
worked
so
with
cute.
Captain Hook.
But
Oh,
look
she's
how cute she is.
Yeah.
They're not necessarily cute. They come in all forms. Did you know
So
that?
apparently I've been married to 2 other fairies in my life
It's
because they're
possible,
cute,
Dave.
but they're
It's
fucking
possible.
evil.
I'm telling you.
I gotcha.
Before ghosts were a thing, before paranormal was really paranormal, they called things fairies. It was either witchcraft or fairies. So it's very possible that everything we're experiencing that we call ghosts or shadow people or whatever it is, aliens, Bigfoot, could have been a fairy. In Scotland, there's a ghillie-doo that looks like a Bigfoot that's covered with moss and leaves, and he's in the woods, and he's elusive too. So what if Bigfoot's really a fairy?
I hear that's only an evil rumor.
It's possible.
It's not true, I swear to God. That's a whole fascinating aspect of this, right?
Yes.
Then there are other cultures that believe that it might be the jinn,
Yes.
right? How many people are familiar with the jinn? And I don't mean the liqueur at the bar, but the jinn are these dark, kind of oppressive, and not really necessarily evil creatures. We just did a show of this a couple weeks ago with Cameron Pasha on Darkness Radio, but we talked about the jinn. The jinn are these kind of ancient beings that walk the earth, and they can take different shapes and forms.
Absolutely.
And some will pretend to be ghosts, some will pretend to be demons, some will pretend to be Bigfoot or fairies or whatever can get into your head to affect you. Which, speaking of getting into your head to affect you, I just thought I saw Mick Foley walk in. That is amazing. Yeah, look at that. Or is it Cactus Jack? I'm not sure who I'm looking at. That is amazing. Holy God, that's living the life right there, folks. Now I don't feel so bad about my Jesse Ventura outfit. What do you guys... Let me tell you, we're going to talk about fairies today.
Disney did the djinn too. They took Aladdin. They put a genie. Yeah,
that's right. That's right. So Disney is really to blame for all of our problems in the
you.
world.
What if?
Yeah.
I'm queen
That
of
would
rabbit
explain.
holes.
Now that I realize the confusion that Disney has shown us, that explains to me why Donald's shirt pops off and he covers his crotch. Right? That is a weird aspect of Daffy Duck does the same. When his ring pops off his neck, he covers his crotch. I don't know if he
For
sees
a minute, I thought you meant
Is it like his
Donald Trump.
cloaking device that covers the area?
It's like, what the fuck?
It's the gin. We'll just blame it on the gin. I blame everything on gin anyway. Well, talking about shadow people, again, how many people have ever had an encounter with a shadow person? Yeah? Okay. There's a lot more hands going up than clapping for those of you at home. Shadow people, again, by applause. How many people believe shadow people are evil? Really, very good. Very good. This is an enlightened audience, because back in the day, I'd say, why? And they'd say, because they're black. And I'm like, that doesn't float anymore. But it's true. How many people associate the darker the image, the more evil the being? And really, in a lot of cases,
that's true.
Shadow people may just be us, but as they're degrading and they're aging out, there's less of them that's able to be seen. The shadow of a man, right? That what was once there. But in your research that you're doing, Nikki, with your new book and working on shadow people, what do we really find? I mean, you know, there seems to be this weird division line. People either truly believe they're evil or believe that they're totally benign, maybe guardian or watcher type figures. What are you finding?
Honestly, there's a combination when you look through it, and even the origin of them is different. I find them fascinating just from personal experience and seeing them since I was little. I think there's a combination of both. It's like people. There are assholes that are people, and there are good people. And just like ghosts, just like anything. When I was very young, I started to sit in my basement. I grew up in Pennsylvania, and sat in the basement and watched shadow people walk past me, like it was a bus station, like tall, short, wide. It was crazy, and it was very comforting to me.
Wait a minute. Why'd you say tall, short, and then look at me when you said wide?
I was telling a story, Dave.
Oh, yeah, you were. And wide.
You know.
So
No.
this was at your home?
This was at my home in the basement.
What was your... did that used to be like a bus terminal where you lived?
No.
I'm not here to judge.
I
You
grew
and
up
your
20
homeless
minutes.
family. Is that what was going on? No?
No, I grew up 20 minutes from Gettysburg. So my guess is that
Oh.
the land has history and energy left in it.
Yeah.
But I watched them for a long time, and they never bothered me. I was actually that person before people really, ghost hunting really became mainstream and more people knew about it. I was the person that was sitting when my dad was mowing the grass. And you know the hum of the mower where it's, that was me. And I was using my cassette recorder, recording and talking to it. I had no idea what I was doing, but I was asking for EVPs. How cool is that, right?
So you were using the white noise of the lawnmower.
Yep.
And what drink were you drinking at the time?
I was like 8 or 9. I wasn't.
Oh, so cranberry vodka.
Right.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It's healthy.
Yeah.
But no, it wasn't until one day I was sitting down there, and I can tell you there was a little sliver of light at the bottom of the door. You know when you're in a dark room and that's what you see? That little sliver of light allowed me to see the darker than dark shadows that were coming through. And one day a dark shadow came in the room. And I don't know if you've ever been in a situation where you've been in a haunted location or something's around, and you know how the air like gets sucked out and it's very thick and feels very humid, and the hair on the back of your neck stands up. You know what I'm talking about. And this.
Why? Because that's all I have is hair on the back of my neck?
No.
Fat and bald. I get it, Nikki. I get it.
Oh my gosh. So it starts coming down the stairs, and I was terrified. I was genuinely terrified. And it wasn't until my mother flipped on the light and said, "Nick, time for dinner," that I was able to get up and go. But it was a terrifying experience. And ever since then, I have been very cautious when it comes to shadow people, because not all of them are bad, but.
Right. Now, shadow people, as we've talked on our show, it's interesting to me, the variations. So, again, show me hands, and I'll kind of call it out to the audience listening at home. How many people have seen a shadow person? Keep your arms up. How many of them saw them in their bedroom? Okay, so about half of you saw them in your bedroom. And I'm just curious, of the half of you that saw them in your bedroom, How many of you, once you get past that initial shock of seeing a shadow person in your room, how many of you just go back to sleep? Yeah, all of you. What the fuck is wrong with you people? There's a shadow person in your room, right? So let me get this straight. Tonight, drunk darkness Dave wanders into your cabin, and I'm standing at the end of your bed, and you're just like cool with it? This guy might be. Look at him looking at me. I feel like he looks at me and I'm a steak on a desert island or something. No. Isn't it weird, right? Because any other place, if you wake up and something is standing in your room, that's not where you're like, right? You go back to sleep. So what is it about this? Does this mean a lot of people believe that that is an alien encounter, actually?
Yeah, I've heard
That you may be dealing with aliens and they're cloaking and you're coming back out of whatever slumber they've had you in while they were testing you.
Oh, shit. That
And you
explains
cannot,
so much.
yeah, you cannot study for this test enough, let me tell you.
God.
So it's really kind of bizarre. Does that lend itself into this? And are you finding in shadow people encounters, are there people that start to relate shadow people to aliens?
You know, you hear it, but I haven't done a lot of research on the alien side of it. I have heard that the folks do see them as aliens. I've heard what you said with the time traveling, like Hermione in Harry Potter, where she comes back and she's watching herself. You and I are like...
Wait a minute. Is anybody else confused? I don't remember mentioning
Listen,
Harry Potter, Hermione,
no,
or time travel
so
since we started this show. Have you gone in the future to hear me mention that in a few minutes?
No, yes.
That's weird.
No, I'm trying to remember which one. She's got the pink shirt on. What the hell one was that? 5. Thank you. But she gets a time changer, time turner from Dumbledore. Thank you, Dumbledore. And that's how she gets to her
That's not a way to
classes.
call her a name like that. Why do you have to be so rude?
But thank you. See? Anyway, so that's how she would get to her classes on time and do all this stuff. And she was watching herself. I'm not talking into the microphone. She was watching herself. And it's so cool because I'm like, holy shit, what if that is shadow people? You're the one that actually set me down that path of what if we're haunting ourselves? And I'm thinking, oh my God, Hermione did it, so maybe we are. But yeah, I've heard aliens. I've heard us haunting ourselves. I've heard fairies. So it's apparitions. It could be anything.
So let's talk about time travel. Did anybody ever watch Harry Potter and see Hermione with the time? Oh my God, that's the moment you saw. This is weird. No, are we passing ourselves all the time? Are we dealing with different factions of who we are and pieces of our personality that embed themselves in the homes and locations we go?
We could be.
But then there's a strange aspect of the supernatural. You know, the part I like is, right, obviously, being the host of Darkness Radio, you like to run into people around the world that have heard of Darkness Radio, right? We go to Romania, Scotland, Germany, Prague, Ireland, and we've seen some amazing things. But we went to Scotland. God, how many years ago now?
2014.
2014.
Yeah. Ashton's
and we do an event, and we go into the Edinburgh Vaults, right? And there's just a handful of us. We break up into these little pods to ghost hunt, and I whip out my
EVP
recorder. Yeah. And
whip out your
it was a
EVP.
dark vault. I whipped it out. What can I say? I wanted to record an EVP in there. But what's really cool is we caught an EVP before I even spoke. So we turn on the recorder, we pause a few seconds, and then I start asking questions. When we play it back, you only think you want to be recognized until it's the spirit world that knows who you are, right? I turn on my recorder, and the first thing out of its mouth is darkness. And we all just stopped and looked at each other. I'm like, did somebody whisper that? We were in a little tight circle. You would have seen somebody speak. Nope, the ghosts knew who we were and why we were there.
Eric was right there. He was there when you recorded it.
It was very, very weird. But to have these elements of the supernatural that may remind you of you, elements, those aspects of kind of shades of your past, or the fact that the supernatural can start to recognize you, going from location to location. I wonder sometimes doing Holzer Files and Curse of Lizzie Borden, and I'm working on a new project right now for Travel and Discovery Plus, is I'm wondering how many of these spirits are kind of connected, and I'm starting to realize there's more of an interconnectivity to the supernatural realm.
Yeah, I believe that.
So if we believe that the world as one, we are all connected, and we can influence and affect people, right? How many times have you been in the presence of somebody and your energy level just drops, right?
Work.
Yeah, work. Or
Right.
or you're in the presence of somebody and nothing major's going on, but you just feel your energy level increasing, right? And becoming happy. You're kind of feeding off one another. So that shows this interconnectedness. So we may be more attuned to the spiritual world and they may be more aware of us. We think of death being the end here and going somewhere else. And maybe it's more like the time warp, right? From Rocky Horror. It's just a jump to the left, right? And that may be it. We're just right off to the side of where we are right now. And maybe that's why we have moments of deja vu. Maybe this, what we're experiencing right now, is the afterlife.
Oh,
Right?
wow.
Yeah.
I don't have enough to drink.
So, but if we are dealing with, these different versions, maybe our lives are all about these circular, cyclical motions where we continue to live through different aspects of ourselves and our experiences.
You know, that's really cool that you say that because now
I'm glad you said so, otherwise I'd be embarrassed.
No, this is a whole new rabbit hole for me to go down.
Good.
Because, you know, we're always trying to get them to talk to us or touch us or whatever. And that same trip in 2014, Ashton was in the Greyfriars Kirk graveyard.
And who's Ashton for listeners at home?
That's
that
my
don't
baby
know?
daughter.
Yes.
She's 21, but she's my baby
22-year-old baby daughter? Yeah.
Yes.
When we mean to talk to you about, it's about time to stop the breastfeeding, okay?
Anyway, so we were in the, everybody else, because we're who we are, everybody else went to hunt ghosts. Why not, right? You're in a graveyard. Ashton's like, nope, I'm fucking out, because she saw a shadow and she's like, I don't want to do it. So she goes and stands by the guide and they yanked her hair. Something behind her yanked her hair. So what if they're reaching out and touching us the opposite way?
Touching me,
I knew you were going to do that. Oh, shit.
Sweet Ashton Folsom.
Ba, ba, ba.
Right. Maybe they are. I don't know. Was that the same cemetery that you and I weren't necessarily ghost hunting in, Eric? Yeah, Eric and I had a totally different experience.
You two never ghost hunt. No, that was Ireland.
Was that Ireland?
That was in Ireland.
Oh, yeah, it was. When they had the guy running around trying to spook us. You're too drunk to know at noon? Good. Good. Eric, Nikki's husband's in the front row. Yeah, so is that us? What if that's Ashton's spirit self? Hey,
Yeah.
remember this moment. Maybe that was
She's
the
like, fuck
tug.
that, no.
No, you felt it was something different, Ashton?
Oh, I was just like, just don't fucking touch me.
Wow. Yeah. That's good. As a dad, we always want to hear our daughter say that, right? Just don't fucking touch me. That should be the thing. And I'm looking at you, Cade. That message should just stay on. No. All right. Well, if anybody has had a shadow person experience and would be willing
Yeah.
to share it, we've got a microphone over here. And maybe, is there somebody that would run it to them? Or do they yep. So if you have a story you want to share about shadow people, raise your hand. That was kind of half-assed, sir. You're like, yeah,
It's like, I'm not fully committed.
All right, we'll see. And you've got one in the back? Okay. Why don't you come on
Yes.
over and we'll get you set up with this microphone on the side. Right here. This gentleman. Oh, look at this fucking guy. Yeah. All right, join it. No, come on up. Let's see it. You got the balls to get on stage. Let's go. He's like, fuck the side mic. I'm on stage. Ladies and gentlemen,
I'm used
Brett
to it.
Michaels.
Thank you.
All right, what's your name, sir?
My name is Brian, and I'm from Chicago.
Hey, Chicago.
Yay! Portillo's. Sorry.
All right, Brian from Chicago. What's your shadow person story?
So I used to live in a six-flat building on the north side of Chicago, and before I moved in, there was actually 2 deaths in the apartment above mine. Actually, right before we moved in, this guy died and melted through the floor. So he was up there for quite a while. Yeah, it's
Get a good deal
That's a
on
whole
that
other
apartment.
story
I'm
we're going to
hoping?
have to hear.
yeah. We
Hey,
did.
welcome to Chicago. I'm glad you're looking in my apartment. Don't mind the stain. That's Mr. Smithers on the second floor. But he
Yeah.
will no longer be a problem if you catch my drift.
This was back in the 80s, so really you throw some paint on it and you don't really got to tell anybody. No. But my stepdad's friend roommate was actually the landlord. So
Holy shit,
we
I need a flow chart. My best friend's dad's roommate was what?
My stepdad's best friend's brother was the landlord.
Okay,
Nice.
now we're all clear.
And So pretty much as a child, I used to visit my biological father in California, and I'd go on all the crazy Universal rides and whatnot. And when I would come home, like I would have nightmares, my mom would say, but I was completely awake and aware of everything going on, where my bed would like shake and kind of shake, and then all of a sudden I had two doors to exit my bedroom that went around the kitchen. So there was always one door that was closest to my mom's room, and I, like every single night I'd wake up and there'd be a very tall shadow person just standing like with arms crossed, like just standing in the doorway. So I would get on my hands and knees and I would crawl out the other door and I would crawl around the kitchen to get into my mom's room, and by the time I would get in there, I would see two more people like at the end of her bed just like looking into the bed, and I'd always be like, Mom, do you see these people? Like,
How much does that suck that you see something terrifying, go to your parents' room for help, and there's more hanging out with your parents?
yeah. And it's really weird too, because nights they would rearrange my room, so the door that was always
Wait a minute,
open.
who would
Yeah.
rearrange your room?
Like my mom would rearrange my room.
So not the
just to
shadow people.
change.
Like,
No,
you
no,
guys
no.
He's not in there like,
you don't have a shadow person.
this room needs to change. If we could just put a sconce above this window
Shaking,
and move the
they
table.
shake the bed a little bit, but that
Uh-huh.
was about it. But
Wow.
yeah, my mom would think, oh, maybe if we change the feng shui, like this will go away or whatever.
I like
so
that. That's
doesn't
good
work.
thinking.
So one night I was sitting there, and on the top shelf of my closet, flames just like combusted, and just flames like out of nowhere. And we go into the closet, and I'm screaming, and I call my mom, and there's nothing burnt, but there's black marks like on the wall.
Scorch marks?
Scorch marks on the wall, but nothing
Holy
burnt.
shit.
Like none of the stuff on the top shelf was burnt, like at all. And then shortly after that, since my foot of my bed, I could look down the long hallway because it was a really long apartment. I would see like people pacing like up and down the long hall of the apartment. And honestly, I never felt, even though fire is pretty abrasive, like especially instantaneous combustion with nothing burnt and just black char on the wall. But I never felt like I was in danger. Like it scared me the first couple times, but I feel like after a while it just became, it's just Jim. Like it was just Jim
See,
from upstairs.
It could be a protector.
Or it was
really
my
could be.
grandfather. Or
Yeah.
like it took on like some kind of persona that it was familiar to me. So yeah, it ended up, my mom had experiences, like the upstairs neighbor would, since I'd visit my dad in California, or the downstairs neighbor would, like calling my mom, like, tell Brian to stop running. Like, and it's like, Brian's in California. Like, there's no children.
I don't
Like-
care where he is. Tell him to stop running.
Yeah.
That kid's so heavy-footed, I can hear him from California.
Like,
That's
seriously.
bonkers.
It
But did
is.
they ever speak to you?
The only vocalizations I've ever heard was when I was much older, and it was just whispering gibberish in my ear, and then it was
Wait, we actually have audio from that. Go ahead and play it, Tim. Yeah, very
like,
cool.
and of course, when it's like in your head, the people you're with don't believe you,
Right.
until it's in the other ear and it's a demonic scream, and you look, and your girlfriend at the time is looking at you in horror.
Because she heard it too?
Because she finally heard it too, and it was like, okay, we need to leave. And it was
Are you
like,
sure it wasn't a left cheek sneak and you're blaming it on a demon?
I-
Demons, honey.
I use the term demon loosely. Not that I believe in demons, but
Right.
that's like the closest
Very cool.
I could think.
That is
Wow,
cool.
that's nuts. And did it just ever stop, or did it continue until you guys moved?
It continued until we moved, but when we moved to the suburbs, it was even crazier because now we would start losing things. Like my mom would lose an earring or lose her keys, and with that, like, I swear it was like clockwork. We had two separate bathrooms, and when I'd go into my bathroom and go to pee, I would see like her earring like sparkling in the toilet. And I found multiple earrings of hers like in my toilet, in my bathroom. Like just would steal one of her earrings and it would be gone for weeks. And then it would show up in my toilet.
Did your mom after the fourth time go, "Can you look before you pee, Brian?"
Like, seriously, it was freaky. And I think the only other thing that personally happened in that apartment was I remember it was Halloween around and I was just lounging on the couch, just munching on the Halloween candy. And I had a balloon, and it was not a helium balloon. And I was bouncing it around, and I remember just kind of watching scary movies, eating candy, and all of a sudden I'm bouncing the balloon, and then it just like doesn't come down. And I just look up, and this thing's just like floating there. And I remember just like I was so scared that I didn't want to put down the tray of Halloween candy. Because I'm like, this thing's going to float away too. Like, so I think I just like grabbed it and like went into my bedroom and just like slowly put it down on my bed.
Brian's like, "You can have the balloon. The candy's mine." Very cool. Brian, thank you very much for sharing. Let's hear it from Brian from Chicago.
Yes. Thanks, Brian. If it's holding a balloon, I don't think it's trying to hurt you, though. I think you're good.
All right, Skipper, you're up. What's your name and where are you from?
I'm Manny. I'm from Massachusetts.
Okay. Very cool. Massachusetts. All right. A masshole is in the house, ladies and gentlemen. You know what? Come on up. You can jump up on stage and be part of the band, too.
Part of the band.
I hear Striper's going to let people on stage to sing with them later, too, so make sure you check out their show.
Calm down, calm down.
It's not true. I know my buddy Eric's like, "Fuck yeah, they are."
Pretty tough follow that up.
All right. And your name again?
Manny.
Manny, get in close to the mic for me, Manny.
Can you hear me?
Manny, and
All
you're
right.
from Massachusetts.
Yes.
All right, Manny, what's your story?
So my story happened about, I want to say 13, 15 years ago.
Okay.
When I still lived with my my parents back at home. And I wasn't sure if I was listening to you or a different paranormal podcast. I'm not sure.
Probably not. There's only one, Darkness Radio.
So I was listening, and they were speaking about shadow people and going through experiences of people calling in and sharing their experiences. And I was like, I never want to experience that. And I just thought that. And as soon as I thought that, I was laying in my bed because I usually listen to radio to go to bed. I see, while I'm laying like on my back, to my right-hand side, which is where most of my bedroom open space is, I see a dark figure just there on the corner of my eyes. And then it wasn't exactly like sleep paralysis because I could move. I was fully functional. I could move. I could walk. I could talk and all that stuff. But I could see a figure, a dark figure, just standing right next to me, just hovering. Didn't speak, didn't say anything. But it almost reached out and placed its hand over my chest. And it just left it there. And I was just terrified. So terrified, I did the most instinctual thing a little kid would do, is just put the covers on my head and roll over.
Yeah.
I was going to go with poop yourself, but blankets are good too. Yeah.
No, blankets.
No,
are
and after that happened, I was like, I never want to experience that again. And I
Look
know
what happened last time you said that. That happened.
Right.
Now you're in the Bermuda Triangle bringing all kinds of dark shit on us, man. What are you doing that for?
And the second time, I know for a fact I was listening to you because I recalled when I first experienced that, and I'm like, oh man, that was an experience. Again, like I said, I don't want to experience that ever again, and I've never had a weird paranormal thing happen in my parents' home. The only thing was my grandma passed away in the bedroom directly under me, but I've never had an experience with my grandmother or anything like that or anything paranormal.
That's because they got her out before she dissolved into the floor, like Brian's story.
That's fucked up.
So I was thinking to myself and of my first experience, and I'm like, I hope that doesn't happen. And right on cue, it happened again. I wasn't sure. I'm like, is this being triggered by me not wanting it? Mm-hmm. Or is this just happening because I'm kind of like calling for it or listening to something or whatever, for whatever reason. It seemed
Right. If
evil.
we set the intent
Yeah.
does something hear us.
Yeah,
And I
and-
think I speak for everybody here. Manny, if you open your mouth and say, I hope we don't disappear in the Bermuda Triangle, we're going to throw your ass overboard right
I'm
now.
not going to say it.
All right?
I will not.
Do not put that intention. Wait, this guy wants to go out? Wait, look at, he's finding a window to open, Manny. Shit's getting serious.
Let's not.
You know, that's how most people see shadow people is out of the corner of their eye.
Yeah,
They don't see
and
them
that's
full on.
exactly how it happened. I couldn't get a real good look, but I could just. My room was dark. I had the TV as background. There was like no volume, but I had the TV, so there was light filtering this way, so my room was completely dark. But there was something just completely encompassing that area where it was just pitch black, and then a figure. It was just dark. I couldn't see a face. I couldn't. You could say it was like a shroud or something, but 'cause I couldn't really see a figure.
Think about this, Manny.
Yeah.
What if, right, 15, 20 years in the future, the new family living in that home, the kid goes into his bedroom and they're laying on his bed as you.
Oh,
And like he's not sure he's seeing this and he puts his hand out to touch your chest and realizes that you're there as well. Maybe you were the ghost to this guy.
yeah.
That's an interesting way
you
to say
guys
it.
just saw somebody's brain burn out on stage.
Yes.
Manny's like,
It's leaking through my ears now.
right.
That's kind of how I feel about aliens. I feel like we are the aliens. We are the aliens from the future to see us in the past, to see how
Right.
how
Agreed.
we are. Because
Agreed.
honestly, that's what we would do. If we found a planet with life, we would observe it. I hope we would just
screw
observe
with
Oh,
it.
that's
We're Americans.
good.
We'll fuck
That's
with it.
good.
Yeah.
If there's oil.
That's a good one. Yeah.
That's right. And then we'll find a way to tax them. Very cool, Manny. Thank you for
Thank you.
sharing.
Yeah, that was
Thank you,
awesome.
Right? There is no one element to what we're dealing with. Now, everybody that's seen shadow people, have you ever seen one with red eyes? You. Anybody else? Was it creepy? Okay, can you come on right over? This gentleman in the back's got a microphone. Oh, he's going to bring it to you. Look at this.
Yes.
All right. What's your name? Oh, hold on. Let's get the mic on. Okay, go ahead. You are?
Cherise,
Sharice, where are
Hi,
you from?
Cherise.
Chicago as well.
Hey, Chicago
Brian's
representing. I like it.
girlfriend.
Oh, okay, of course.
So I did see one. I wasn't scared. I was more so just kind of caught off guard. I was laying in bed and my aunt went to the bathroom. She had just had a baby, so her baby was laying on the wall. I was in the middle, and she went to the bathroom, and we had a fish tank outside of the door, and I was staring at the fish tank, waiting for her to come back, and my eyes just kind of focused to the foreground instead, and leaning against the doorway was a figure of a man, and he was wearing a hat. And he had what I thought was like a trench coat, but I couldn't really see detail. It was more so an outline. And he had red glowing eyes, but I couldn't see like facial features. It was just the eyes, the hat, and the coat. And he was just leaning against the doorway staring at me. But then my aunt started coming back from the bathroom, and I heard her footsteps, and it just was gone.
So he's
And
just watching. He wasn't really threatening.
So everything I've read about it when I looked that up was the same, is that they're just kind of observing. And that's what I've felt from what I saw, is that it was just kind of standing there and observing.
That's good.
So no fear, really. Just
That's
kind
okay.
of like,
Watch all
what
you
is
want.
that?
I don't know.
Exactly.
I got to be honest with you. If a man in a hat, shadow figure with red glowing eyes is staring at me, I'm throwing the baby at it and I'm running.
No,
Right?
She
Take
didn't-
this. It's a clean soul.
she didn't feel threatened, so I.
Yeah.
We girls, we know.
So, Brian, you just kind of attract weird into your life. Is that the deal here?
Very much so.
Have you guys had an experience together? And I'm talking paranormal. Not yet?
Honestly, just we've heard stuff, but nothing too like detailed that we could really pinpoint what it was.
Right.
What was that, Manny? You hope that they don't have an alien abduction tonight?
Yeah, we have an old man that lives downstairs that falls down a lot, so we're not quite sure if
If
it's
a
him
ghost is
just
pushing
falling
him?
down or the ghost
There's
is
a
pushing
dick
him.
ghost beating
So
up
wait,
an old
there's
guy.
an old man upstairs that falls down a lot. You hear a noise, but you don't go check on him. You're like,
Oh
fuck
no,
you.
actually, I did go check on him
Good.
once,
Thank
and there
you.
was
Let me
no
see.
one there, and I helped him up with a broken ankle.
Wow, look how good of a person he is.
All right, that's weird. We have to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll continue our discussion of the supernatural, fairies, shadow people, ghosts. We want to hear more of your stories. You're listening to Darkness Radio live aboard the Triple Whammy Jericho Cruise. Let's hear it for Timmy D, who did not make it on this trip. Let him know you guys are thinking of him and love
Timmy
him.
D! Aw.
There you go, Tim. All right, we are aboard the Jericho Cruise. This is the triple whammy. My guest on stage with us, Nikki Folsom. She is a paranormal investigator, researcher, and author. We've been talking about all different aspects of the strange, mostly slanted towards shadow people, which is kind of cool. Has anybody here ever witnessed what they think was a fairy? A fairy? Lou?
Yes, Lou!
Lou? All right,
is
come on,
this?
Lou. Where's our microphone, man? Lou, would you tell us about your fairy story? Can you go over here, sir, where it won't back?
I'll take it to you.
Oh, yes, he finished his martini. This is going to be a good story.
Yeah, he's drinking a martini. Did that happen right now, Lou?
No. Is this on? Yeah, there it is.
Okay, so your name is?
Lou,
And where are you from, Lou?
Seattle.
All right, Seattle, Lou. Lou, so
Seattle in the house.
you saw
Seattle
a
in the
fairy.
Well, I used to see, I think they were fairies. I used to see from the corner of my eyes. It looked like something was peeking out around the corner. And as soon as I turned, they would just like go back behind the wall. This happened for, I don't know, few years. And then they just kind of disappeared.
It was in your house? Mm-hmm. How big was it?
Like child size.
Okay.
They weren't big, yeah. But that's the only thing I can think of, that they may have been fairies. Or
What made you associate them with the fairy folk, though?
just because they were small.
Okay.
It can't
I
be a
don't
child's
know.
ghost.
Yeah.
It's a fairy.
It could have been
I
child's
like
ghost.
it.
I don't know.
I like it. That's
But-
cool.
And was this when you were an adult or as a child?
No, an adult.
Okay. And you'd see these beings around. Now, have you had other paranormal experiences
Yeah.
with ghosts?
Yeah.
Okay. Did it feel different than the ghostly experiences you'd had?
Yeah, it felt playful. It felt
Okay.
like they were kind of like, hide and seek.
All
So
right.
it could have been a child ghost or
Yeah.
children ghost. I don't know.
Could be.
Maybe it was me as a kid and, coming back to haunt myself in the future.
That would be
be.
cool.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna fuck with
it's
it.
weird. Do we have these elements? Another big concept that people have been discussing more along the lines are we dealing with past incarnations of ourselves? Are these shadowy beings that are watching us and around us and at different sizes and ages, different versions of our lives? When we were 6 years old and swallowed up by Mount Vesuvius, right? Before
Yeah.
you were born into the extravagance of Seattle, right? So is it that you're seeing different versions of yourself visiting you in the future?
It reminds me of The Others, that movie.
Right.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. I haven't seen that for a while.
Only Nicole Kidman wasn't there when you woke up, right?
Yeah, exactly.
If she was, this story could be a lot
It
better.
was her
Lou.
husband.
Oh, okay.
I was like,
Very cool. Anybody here have a Bigfoot encounter? Nobody? Bigfoot at sea. That would be cool. If somebody could catch a photograph of Bigfoot on the ship, we have something, guys. A whole new series. All right. And has anybody ever witnessed, not a UFO, but believe that they've seen an alien? That was half-assed, too. What's this? Meh.
Because I thought you were about to say UFO.
No, okay, so you've seen, and nobody's seen an alien, but you have seen a UFO.
I would say yes.
Okay, hold on, let's get a mic on. What's your name?
Bobby Slater,
Bobby Slater, from where?
Tucson, Arizona.
All right, Tucson.
Tucson.
So, where was this? How old were you?
It'd actually be about 3 years ago at the first Jericho Cruise, if you haven't mentioned it already,
Oh, very cool. Is that where we did our experiment?
where we're doing our experiments, and you even
Yeah.
confirmed that your son was in that ocean area and said there was nothing out there,
Right.
and all we saw was that bright yellow, was it yellow light? Or
I don't remember
red?
the color. Well, we had the two at first, remember?
Yeah,
Then
it
the
was
one
two.
vanished.
And then it was going down in the ocean, pure black, popped back up.
Yeah.
Made no sense whatsoever.
And we had the 6-man crew, we had a couple of the naval crew, and we had my son who was former Navy.
Yeah.
And he's like, Dad, this ship would have to be pitching and rolling like crazy for it to keep dipping between the horizon line. The ship's not moving. And we were doing an intention experiment, and we tried to call forth a UFO, and we caught these lights that suddenly appeared up on the side horizon. One took off and moved. The other one was kind of following along with us for a while. And we had a group, it was about 30 people, 40 people.
Yeah,
out
it was like 40 people, wrestlers, the crew,
Yeah.
the others, and none of us can explain it. And all of us thought we were pulling a hoax on us because we're wrestling
Because I'm that
fans.
powerful a being. I understand. I'm thought projecting a UFO onto the horizon. No, that was great. What a weird experience to have. So how did that impact you? I mean, you saw something that seems to be out of the realm of reality.
Because I already believe that there is more than one being on this universe, it's just seeing that kind of in my head, I can kind of confirm, yeah, that's either aliens or was a weird coincidence that can't be explained, but it kind of helps, like, okay, I'm not insane. There's something's going to explain
I have
that.
bad news for you, sir. That does not mean you're not insane. It just means you're insane and witnessed it with us. So, no, that is a cool moment, though.
Yeah.
Yep.
Very cool. Who's had a really creepy, scary experience? I mean, we're in the month of October. You, sir, have had a paranormal creepy experience? No, not really. He was just raising his hand.
He drank too much last night.
Day drinking is a rough skill, not for everybody. You've had a very scary experience? All right, let's see. We got the gentleman in the back. Oh, all right, come on up. Look,
He's like, I'll take the stage.
I like this. Yeah, when people feel the
I
call
like
to
it.
the stage. Hold on a second here.
Well, that way people don't have to turn around.
Good. I like that. All right.
Good thinking.
And what's your name and where are you from?
My name is Matt, and I'm from Ogden, Utah.
All right, Ogden,
Nice.
Utah. All right, Matt. So what's your scary experience?
Well, this goes back to 1992, and I've been a musician my whole life almost, and so I joined this band, and I was going to be the bass player, and so the band there was two brothers, and they lived at home with their mom, and that's where we would jam. And so one day I went over there for band practice, and their mom had this bottle with stuff in it, and she goes, "Do you know what this is?" And I go, "No, you're cleaning or something, you know?" But she goes, "This is holy water. We have a demon in our house." So I was like, and I knew nothing about the paranormal, nothing. So I didn't know, you know. So anyway, a few just random things happened when I went over there from time to time. Like there was one time I did see a shadow person go from one bedroom into the other. I was just turned to look down the hall, and it went from one bedroom to the other. I could just see it go. So that kind of was freaky. Another
Did you
time,
mention it to the family? Or did you say, I just saw somebody walk
yeah,
through the hall?
yeah, they communicated it all the time, but they were convinced they had a demon.
Okay.
Me, I'm not so sure. I think it was just something. I mean, after like learning more about the paranormal, I think it was more like there was a shadow figure, and then maybe just somebody like a mean ghost in there. I mean, I would smell once in a while. You'd smell something waft past you, like that smelled like decay and rot.
Sorry, that's the buffet. It's been bothering me all morning.
Yeah.
So
And
you would smell like decay, that kind of rotting meat
Rotting
scent.
meat.
yes, yeah.
But you still don't think that was a demon?
I'm not sure.
Usually that's like one of the high signs, right? Glowing red eyes, rotten decay smell, and what are some of the other, like the loud thumping, things coming in three, right?
threes,
boom,
yeah.
boom, boom. Let's go back to my room where we can do it all night. So you'd smell this. And were they affected by it? I mean, or was it just secondary to them now?
Well, they lived there, and mostly they would have they had a lot more experiences, when I was in there, because I didn't live there. And they told me some wild stories, but I think they kind of were more amped up because they thought it was a demon for sure, and so they kind of were a little bit more hysterical more of the time. It just freaked them out a lot more. Like right now, I probably wouldn't be as freaked out, but at the time that I didn't know anything about the paranormal, I was, freaked out as much as them.
Did you ever notice, would the activity amp up after you guys got done jamming, or was it more active beforehand?
Mostly it was when they did like stuff like spring cleaning, like move furniture around.
Right, but you guys played music there, right?
Right.
Right, but did you ever notice any weird shit happen after you guys got done playing?
A couple of times.
Yeah?
Like one. Now I don't remember after jamming, but one time I did see a book fly off a table, and that was kind of weird. It's a book and some papers. They just went zoom right off the table, and but there was one time after we got done jamming, we were kind of just hanging out. The couple other dudes went home, so it was just me and the two brothers, and the mom were there, and we were kind of walking around the house because I think somebody heard a noise or something. But anyway, we walked upstairs and we walked into the bathroom, and one of the brothers just freaked out. Like he started crying and everything. And inside the bathroom, in the tub, there was this doll.
Oh, fuck.
And
I
if you
hate
can
dolls.
imagine a towel rolled up long ways and folded in half, and then with one of those 80s big giant scrunchies wrapped around it. And it was laying in the tub with some sunglasses on it, kind of like a crudely shaped doll. And that was really creepy. And then written on the mirror was U and then R and then DED. And we tried to figure out like which cosmetic, like if it was lipstick or if it was like lotion or something, but we couldn't, we're dabbing it on the mirror. We couldn't figure out, it didn't match anything. Like the color and stuff like that didn't match, but I don't know, maybe there was other cosmetics.
So it was spelled with a U and then the letter R?
Yeah, letter U, letter R, and then DED.
Yeah, Prince's ghost. Yeah, that's weird.
So, and I don't know, if that one was a hoax, it was a pretty mean hoax to pull on, like if it was a mom doing it or something like that. That's like, would be really cruel, but it seemed like they were pretty genuine in their surprise and alarm and, freaking out and crying and stuff like that over. I mean,
No, I got to be honest.
a bunch of metalheads with like Death Angel shirts on, we're tough guys, right?
Is this your first cruise?
Yes.
Okay. So for all of you that now go back to your room to go check on something or plug your phone in, if you go in and they've made like a towel ostrich or they do that, don't go in and be like, oh shit, he brought the demon.
That's right.
It's just a fluffy bunny, right? They do that here, so you may find your t-shirt you laid on the floor all twisted up into a nice little animal or a doll. If it's bleeding from the eyes, then you guys are in a different world. That's really cool. Thank you very much.
Story.
I do have one confession to make.
Okay.
I have never seen Close Encounters of the Third Kind because I always thought there was a Close Encounters of the First Kind and a Close Encounters of the Second Kind. And I didn't want to watch them out of order.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Suddenly we've turned into this weird paranormal confession room, right?
It could have been
I got to admit, I didn't watch The Exorcist because I was like, fuck that. Who has time for exercising, right?
No, that family could have been feeding, or the entity could have been feeding off their fear.
Right.
Because,
Well, that's very
and the
cool.
music, the
Well,
energy.
I was wondering if they're playing music. So many music and theater venues are haunted.
Oh, yeah.
And there's all that energy that goes. Sir, we're not done. Sit down. Thank you.
Okay, it's okay.
You leave when I say you leave. Do you understand this? I am darkness, goddamn Dave. You will, go ahead. I understand, sir. Thank you. Thank you for coming. Now that he's gone, let's get to the good stories. But a lot of these theaters and musical venues are extremely haunted, right? And a lot of times in Minnesota, we have First Avenue, which is very haunted.
Yeah.
There have been celebrities up performing that have seen people crawl up on stage with them, and they're wondering why security hasn't gotten them. And then the person just vanishes. So you got to guess that harmonic resonance of music has got to be really powerful. Is it feeding the ghost realm? Is it opening? I hate the term portals because it seems like it's used too often, but is it creating these rifts that allow different energies to be experienced and seen?
I believe that, but I also believe when you're on stage, and if you're a performer, you know this, you're giving a lot of energy into that, and the audience is giving a lot of energy back. So it's all there, and they're feeding off of it. So I genuinely believe that's why you see all these things in theater. And even after the lights go down and everybody leaves, the shit happens in the theater because the energy's still there. Like the shadow person at the Harlequin. We've had people get scratched at the Harlequin. So there's a boatload of things.
So they're apparently not big fans of the show if they scratch you?
No,
is that the deal?
no. What's interesting is
Fuck cats! All right.
no. So the Harlequin is on Fort Base. She's vodka. Fort San
Let's just stick with it's in Texas. That might be easier for you, lady.
In San Antonio.
Cranberry and vodka, kids. It's a dangerous combination.
Right? And it's on base. And it's interesting that the 50s music, isn't it the 50s music? They love the 50s music. And when we do shows, they're excited, and you can just feel them around. They yell our names, and you're like, oh, shut up. I've got shit to do.
Wait. The ghosts yell your names on stage?
No. There's a lounge behind me when I run sound, and Sean, my best friend there, and Robert.
Wait, are these real people? Or
They're real
ghost best
people.
friends? Okay.
They manage the
I can't
theater.
be sure. You're on your second cranberry and vodka.
No, just we'll sit in rehearsal, and you can hear them yell our names. Like, I've heard Nikki coming from the lounge, and when I go look, and Sean just looks at me like, "Hey, there's nothing going to be there. You can go look."
Is that like the green room where the performers would hang out?
No, that's the bar where people drink. The backstage
is where you hear the voices call?
where you hear the voices come from.
Are you sure it's not just Eric? I need more whiskey!
No. No.
Nikki!
Backstage is bad. Backstage is where the Shadow Man lives, and he's not a nice person. He's chased me and pisses me off. I don't like him.
Has anybody ever seen him on stage while a performance is going on?
He's actually waved to people. So he does like some people. I guess I'm the person he hates, but he does like some people. He waves to them.
Your husband goes, well, that's understandable. Look at him in the front.
But no, here, the first time in my life and the only time in my life I've ever seen a white shadow person was in that theater. And I was running sound, middle of a show. They're doing a song, and to the right side of my eye, I could see something moving back in the, like where the exit door is, emergency exit. And I looked back, and a white figure stood there. And it was just something I had never seen before. I've seen shadows in like the form of a mist, like you see them in like a black mist, but I've just never seen one that's full on white.
It will be me. Look at how stark white I am. If I die, the shadow person will be glowing white. And not because I'm holy and blessed. It's just like, so in life, so in death, right? Translucent. The sun will catch me. I'll sparkle like an Edwardian vampire from Twilight. So you've seen this. I mean, that's crazy. That's a lot of energy. Do you think it's because there is so much, right? You go to see a play or a musical, it's bringing about emotions of laughter, a happiness, fear, anxiety as you're watching the Jets square off against the Sharks, whatever show you're putting on. I mean, do you think that that's feeding and drawing spirits from other places, or are the spirits already there? You're just empowering them.
I think the spirits are there. We're just empowering them. Just every location's like that. And how many of you have been in a theater and there's things there, you feel it,
Wait a minute. How many of you have been in the theater and everybody's just got this blank open mouth stare? You mean one of them moving picture theaters?
No, like a live performance theater, whether it's music or plays or whatever it is, or musicals. Everywhere you go, every small town, big city, country, it doesn't matter what it is, every theater has a story.
Sure.
Every one of them. And I do believe that feeds off that energy.
Yeah, that makes sense, right? Music speaks to all generations.
It does.
It speaks through emotions. I've talked about it openly on the show, how music saved my life. And there's a magic to music as well. How many of you, no matter what age you are right now, a song can come on the radio or you can be in the elevator and hear it, and you can almost immediately flash back to the 80s and feel the polyester pants and the smell of your mom's cookies or whatever from that era. It's almost like you're transported mentally into that space.
Parachute pants, not polyester pants.
Yeah. Well, wasn't that what parachute pants are made of? Polyester.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I know. It's hard to believe. Now you know. So your wife has owned something polyester at one point in her life, Eric. So you've got that aspect of music that can transport the mind and soul. That's why I firmly believe, and we talked about it on the show a few weeks back, I believe we can time travel within our own lifetime, within our own selves. I think we can go back to ourselves at certain points and give information. When you think about a decision you made in life, and now think about how many nights you've laid there thinking about that decision and you wish you would have gone another way, right? And that voice. And now when you think back to that moment, before that, you hear almost that resounding voice, don't do it, or do it, do it, do it. Now you might know where that voice is coming from. Years from yourself thinking about it in the future, sending those messages back. So it makes me wonder how many divergent timelines we've created in our own lifetime by sending those messages back to see what happens, like Doctor Strange in the Avengers, right? Able to go in and see all the different lives and which ones work out best. And it's a curiosity to me to wonder how connected, and music can take us there, right? And laughter can take us there. Mm-hmm. So I think you're right in a lot of these theatrical places, and that's why places are so haunted. We did Paramount Studios, I did an investigation.
Really?
Very haunted. And you hear stories. We got brought onto the set, bless you, which was formerly the Happy Days set. And there was, if you guys remember Happy Days, TV show from the 70s, right? Early 80s. Heather O'Rourke, the little girl from Poltergeist, played the daughter of Fonzie's girlfriend, right? She passed away, sadly. On that soundstage, they see a little blonde girl. Some people think it might be Heather O'Rourke that's seen in that soundstage. I wasn't sure. We went in. We're doing a quick walk around, and I have a shack hack. I have one of those spirit boxes, and I'm playing it, and I'd never tried it before, and I have the docent with me, and I say to the docent, this is a spirit box. Let's see what happens. I turn it on, and it's just you're hearing the and I go, if there's anyone here that would like to say hello, this is your time to speak. Hello, hi, hola. Like 8 different versions of hello come through the radio. And the docent looks at me and he goes, did you record that? Is that in there? I'm like, no. And he goes, all right, that's weird. And I said, well, how long have you worked here? He goes, oh, I've been here 15 years. I said, have you ever had a paranormal experience? He goes, no. So we walk around, and as we keep moving our way around Paramount Studios, the back lot, the back part of it is bumped up against Hollywood Forever Cemetery. And he does start to tell me security guards will not go in that area at night because they see spirits walking between the buildings and in through the wall into Hollywood Forever Cemetery. So the spirits are still like checking out the studio from the graveyard with all the celebrities and producers and camera people and best boys and grips and everybody that's working. They're still coming through into the deal. So he's telling us this, and he's very, cheeky about it, and he's kind of rolling his eyes about the story. And the team I'm with is very serious, and we go in, and he takes us into the soundstage, and he goes, hey, do you recognize this? And you look around, and holy shit, it's the former Soul Train set, right? And the gong is hanging up on the ceiling.
Did you ring it? Did you ring it?
We're standing there, and the 4 investigators are spread out, and they're taking measurements, and I'm standing next to the docent, and we're just watching them, and all of a sudden, from the wall, you hear on the concrete floor, thump, 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 footsteps walk up to us. And the docent's eyes get huge, and he's like looking at me. And again, when you're Darkness Dave, you got to kind of live up to the moniker. Internally, my asshole is really tight at that moment. But externally, I've got to be like, hey, man, it's ghosts. You never heard it? Inside, I'm like, what the fuck? Right? And we're standing there, and I'm like, nothing to worry about, man. It's cool. And he goes, that's weird. And then, bong, the gong goes off. And we all just look up, and this guy goes, I think I'm going to go wait outside. He goes outside for 5 minutes, comes back in, and he goes, I don't want to be out there either. Can we please go to the next set, which happened to be shared with that one, and it's where Red Fox suffered his heart attack and died.
Wow.
Now, it's like Disney World. Nobody dies at Disney World, right? They took Red Fox off set, and he died across the street. But he suffered a massive heart attack while filming his show. I think it was the Royals, and he passed away on set. And we were getting all kinds of weird activity there as well. So this guy went from a non-believer after working there for 15 years to hanging out there. And it's weird. He never invited me back. I don't know why.
Well.
You have that experience. That's got to be a weird moment, right? But he said it's the former Desilu studios are there. And I guess Desi Arnaz's office at that point, like 14 years ago, was still exactly as he left it. The only difference was that they had punched a hole in to bring in cable and Ethernet cables for the internet. But that was the only change, and they said that there's a lot of activity that takes place there. So these even the studios themselves are very loaded with paranormal. And when you think, again, all the emoting, all the things that went into it, the movie magic, there's still those elements of these souls that work there that still live within the confines of the studio. Anybody else? We've got just about 4 or 5 minutes left. Anybody else got some cool stories they want to share with us? Yes, sir. All right, come on up over here, and then we'll get to you next, sir. All right. And what's your name? Where are you from?
Matt from Vancouver, Canada.
All right, Canada. Welcome.
So I'll try to get through these
Oh,
real
these
quick.
people are like, fuck Canada. We're out of here. Racists! Sorry, sir.
Good, we don't want you anyways.
Yeah.
So
We do. I was kidding, sir. Thank you for coming.
I got one of those creepy photos in about 2001. I was working in the mall in a record store, brightly lit place. It's a really slow day, and one of my staff snapped a photo of me. And when the Polaroid came out, I was being swirled with smoke in the photo, and there was 2 women's faces, definitely above my shoulders.
Really?
Yeah. They just popped in to say hi. Never saw anything of it again. When I was a kid living on Vancouver Island, my parents had left us with a babysitter, and For years, I had sworn that she had snuck friends into the house because I would see a kid run out of the kitchen and into the living room, around the dining room, and up the stairs. And this it freaked me right out. And the babysitter's like, no, it's nothing, it's nothing. I thought she was just sneaking her boyfriend in or whatever, waiting for us to go to sleep. And then years later, I was sitting having drinks with my parents and mentioned that, and my mom's face kind of fell. And she went, I would wake up periodically in that house, and there would be a boy sitting at the foot of the bed. And I would always think it was you or your brother. And he was just a sad boy sitting there. Years later, she would become a pastor. And if people want to go back and listen to your last podcast from the Jericho Cruise, it was my now pastor mom that helped my daughter, who told the story, get over her experience with a ghost by giving her a cross for her bed.
Very
But
cool.
I also worked in a movie theater in Langley, BC. It's a 19-theater megaplex. I ran the projection booth for a few years, and one theater in that building was haunted. Guests that would sit in the back row would complain that their seat was being kicked violently, and they were the only guests in the theater. No guest that ever complained about it ever asked for passes. They just got up in the middle of the movie and took the fuck off. And a lot of times closing late at night, 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, as we're shutting down that side of the building, and there's 9 projectors in one big hallway, as everything sort of shuts down and gets quiet, and you shut all the lights off, and it gets darker and darker. If you pass this theater, almost every projectionist that ever walked by there said, at least once, I got the worst feeling of unease every time I walked by there. I was fine 10 feet on either side of it, but the second I walked by that area, my stomach dropped, I felt cold, and there was something not happy I was in that area to be there, and it caused a lot of employees to not want to work on that side.
Wow.
And being the dick that I can be, I would tend to sneak in, hide somewhere, flip the lights on and off, and
Wow.
just sort of play with them a little bit until I was told to stop fucking with the staff.
Yeah, that's a good plan. Never mess with the staff. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
We've got another gentleman. Hey, let me mention real quick for people that are interested, we have a super secret trip to Ireland coming up, Darkness Radio. I'm going to be going to Ireland in June, and we only have 7 spots left open out of the 30. So if you are interested, you can email me, dave@darknessradio.com, and I will send you a link to the coordinator. She'll send you all the information, how you can sign up. You can do payment plans. We set one up. We only released it for one day on Facebook, sold it out in 30 hours, sorry. And then we had 15 people sign up for the overflow, so we opened up a second super secret one for June, and that already half sold out. Like I said, we only have 7 spots. So if you are interested in going out to Haunted Ireland with me in June, email me, dave@darknessradio.com. That's not just for the audience here, but for our audience abroad and listening from around the world. If you're interested, email me, dave@darknessradio.com. Join me in Ireland. But remember, keep your schedules open because the quadruple whammy, I don't know what you're going to call it.
I was going to call it that.
Yeah, the Jericho Cruise number 4 will be taking place in March of 2022. They'll have tickets on sale for that, I'm pretty sure, pretty soon, huh? Yep, so you guys can keep checking that out, jerichocruise.com. All right, sir, you're our last story, so it better be good, no pressure. What's your name and where are you from?
My name is Brandon. I'm from North Carolina.
All right, welcome to the show.
Yeah.
Well, it started out, my father passed away March of last year.
Oh, sorry about your loss.
You know, a year went by and his estate was all up in arms of who was going to get who. It ended up being dropped in my lap shortly before the cruise actually happened. Thankfully for him, he helped sponsor me being here. But when we were cleaning out, he had a bar he had built back behind. Cleaning it out, he had a single little dollar. This one actually right here, folded up like a T-shirt. And when I was cleaning out my wallet to come here, I left it at home so I wouldn't lose it. Well, we had arrived to the hotel the day before the cruise, and going through the stuff, I pick up my bag, and sitting on the floor was the dollar. It had followed me here all on its own just to come along.
Hey, wait for me! Right?
No,
That's awesome.
That's great.
That's very cool.
I left it on my desk just for the sheer fact of I didn't want to lose it because there's no replacing what it was, but it came along.
Well, your dad wanted to come with. He's like, I'm paying for it. Let me see the damn cruise.
Well,
right?
I'm actually wearing his dog tags.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's
Very
awesome.
cool. So you want to, I'll wrap up I've mentioned this on the radio show a long time ago. We were always looking for signs, right? We want signs, and it's got to be something big like a lightning bolt from the universe letting us know. Well, I did the Walker Stalker Cruise for them 3-4 years ago. So we did Jericho Cruise. 6-man brought me on to be part of the last Walker Stalker Cruise. And my wife and I were here, and I had a necklace on with my mom's crucifix that has her ashes in it. And we had this great cruise, and we get home, and the necklace is gone. The crucifix is gone. And I'm really bummed out. I wanted to take it everywhere with me so that she could be a part of all of my trips around the world. She loved to travel. And so we're home for months, and this is just gone. And then one day our son Max, he can't find his glasses. So I send everybody off. I'm like, come on, everybody, we got to go do this. Now, the night before I sent them to look for the glasses, I wrote my mom a message on Facebook. Sent it to her private mail. I'm the only one that has access to her account. But that's how I process grief. I write to my mom from time to time. I just wrote her this note. And I'm like, hey, Mom, you've been gone a while now. I miss you. I love you. Just give me a sign you're still around. Anything. Just let me know you're still near. And sent that message off. The next day, Max's glasses are missing. And I sent everybody off with a $5 reward for whoever finds the glasses, right? They all break off scrambling looking. And my son Damien comes over and he goes, Dad, look. And we have these little clay jars. They're Egyptian clay jars that you would see in a mummification situ. They used to put like the heart in one, the brain in the other things, and this was the jar of life. And it's a real small jar, so small, obviously a pair of glasses would not fit in it. But kids don't always process that, right? He was looking everywhere. And he opens it up and he brings it over to me. He opens it up, and inside the jar of life is my mom's cross. Aww. The necklace is nowhere to be found. Just the cross with my mom's remains in it, the day after I asked her for a sign. So that's really cool that you had this moment. I had one with the cruise ship as well. So obviously you want to book on Norwegian because cool shit happens on Norwegian cruises, right? Guys, let's thank our good guest, Nikki Folsom.
Thanks, guys.
A big round of applause for our engineer and producer, Tim Dennis, back home.
Where's I'm looking for him.
I want to thank you guys. I want to thank Chris Jericho for bringing us back. Hopefully we'll be back for the 4th. And remember, if you like Darkness Radio, you want us back on the ship, make sure you tell 6th Man and tell everybody that you love seeing us here. I'll be back on Sunday night telling ghost stories at the Great Outdoors, and I hope all of you that are in attendance will come see that. For those of you that are at home listening, screw you. You missed a great opportunity to have some fun with some really drunk people. We've had a great time on the Jericho Cruise. We're just getting started, so thank you all for being here. Big round of applause for the audience. Yeah.
Wait, we need a big round of applause for Dave.
Thank you.
Woo!
And do me a favor, guys. Make sure you treat all of the staff here with love and respect, because this is big to be back out and able to do these kind of amazing trips. They're taking their lives on the line. They're taking their job serious. So thank them, thank everybody involved, and enjoy yourselves. See the concerts, see the wrestling, see the comedy shows, and be loud and proud for them, because they're all here to entertain you guys. So thank you. For Darkness Radio, I'm Dave Schrader. You've been listening to the best in paranormal talk radio. This is Darkness Radio.